Let me tell you about a guy I used to know. Let's call him Bo. Bo was the epitome of a hustler. He had a recording studio, one of those places where wealthy parents would drop off their kids who wanted to be the next big rap star. It was a beautiful setup. Bo got paid, the kids got to play rapper, and the parents got a few hours of peace and quiet to go be rich somewhere else. It was a perfect little ecosystem. Then, boom, the economy hiccuped. It wasn't even a full-blown crash, just a tremor. But those wealthy parents, they put their kids on private jets and shipped them off to record in London or LA, chasing some new producer with a bigger Instagram following. Suddenly, Bo's studio was empty. His rent didn't disappear, his equipment leases didn't vanish, and he was left standing there holding a pair of dusty microphones and a mountain of debt. And here's the thing that really got to him. He thought he'd been careful. He wasn't out here living like a rock star. He drove a beat-up old Honda, lived in a modest one-bedroom apartment, and was still using an iPhone that was 2 generations old. So when he opened his banking app, he was expecting to see a safety net. Instead, he saw a big fat zero. He looked at me totally baffled and said, "Finn, how? I didn't buy anything." He scrolled through his transaction history, and that's when the truth hit him. He wasn't being taken down by a single catastrophic expense. He was being eaten alive by 1,000 tiny invisible ones. A few Uber rides here, a $40 DoorDash order there because he didn't feel like cooking, a premium subscription he forgot to cancel, a new gadget on Amazon that was only 20 bucks. It was like he was trying to fill a boat with water, and instead of one big hole, his hull was riddled with 1,000 little pinpricks. He was taking on water, and he didn't even feel himself sinking until he was already underwater. I sat him down and I told him, "Bo, if you don't change the way you see money, this life, this whole hustle is going to crush you. You can't just go with the flow and expect to stay afloat. You need a plan." And that's when we started rebuilding from the ground up, because becoming financially fit isn't about deprivation, it's about control. And the first step is the most boring but the most essential. Principle number 1, you have to become a forensic accountant of your own life. Bo had no idea where his money was going. He was just swiping his card and hoping for the best. So we sat down and tracked every single transaction for a month. Not just the big stuff like rent and car insurance. I'm talking about the $4.50 latte from the coffee shop, the $12 lunch on a Tuesday, the $6.99 he spent on a mystery box from an online game. We categorized everything: rent, transportation, food, entertainment, the stupid stuff. And when we were done, he saw it plain as day. He was spending over $400 a month on food delivery and ride sharing. That's nearly $5,000 a year just disappearing into convenience fees and tips. It was his own personal leaky faucet, dripping away his financial security one small, thoughtless transaction at a time. So now he knew where the leaks were. Principle 2 is about sealing them, and it's the hardest one for a hustler. Kill the spontaneous purchase. Bo was a guy who would go into a store for a pack of gum and walk out with a new Bluetooth speaker. His brain was wired for immediate gratification, so we had to rewire it. We created a new rule. Before any non-essential purchase over 50 bucks, he had to wait 24 hours. Put it in the cart, close the app, and come back the next day. You'd be surprised how many things you don't actually want when the dopamine hit wears off. He went to buy 5 new studio chairs, a $2,000 impulse, but we put it on the list. After 24 hours, he realized he only needed 2. He saved $1,000 just by sleeping on it. Principle 3 is the golden rule, and it's non-negotiable. You have to pay your future self before you pay anyone else. I told Bo, the day you get paid, before you buy groceries, before you pay your electric bill, before you even think about that DoorDash order, you move 10% of that money into a separate account. This isn't for saving up for a new car or a vacation. This is your FU fund, your financial freedom fund. He looked at me like I was crazy. "But Finn, I'm broke. I can't afford to save." And I told him, "Bo, that's the point. If you can't afford to save 10% of what you have now, you'll never be able to afford to save when you're making more. It's not about the amount, it's about the discipline. Make it automatic. Set up a recurring transfer. You won't even miss the money after a few months, I promise. Because if you don't pay yourself, you'll end up paying everyone else." Now, Bo was old school. He grew up hiding his cash in a shoebox under the bed. So when he finally started to save a little, his first instinct was to hide it. But here's the cold, hard truth. If you just let your money sit there in a checking account or under your mattress, it's not safe. It's dying a slow death. It's called inflation. Every year, your dollars buy you a little bit less. So principle 4 is you have to put your money to work. The safest place to start is a high-yield savings account. It's not going to make you rich, but it'll fight off inflation better than a shoebox. We got Bo set up with an online bank that was paying a decent APY. Then we talked about the next level. If he had more, we'd look at CDs, maybe a diversified portfolio of ETFs, a little bit in a Roth IRA. The key is to understand that saving is the starting line, not the finish line. You have to become an owner of assets, not just a holder of cash. All right, so Bo's got a budget, he's killing the impulses, he's saving, and his money is working for him. He's feeling good. But then he goes to buy a new microphone for the one client he still has. The price tag is $600. Old Bo would have just swiped his card. New Bo? He looked at the sales guy and said, "Is that the best you can do?" The guy said no, so he said, "What about $520? The guy went to the back, talked to his manager, and came back with $540. Bo just saved $60 in 90 seconds. It's not about being cheap, it's about being an adult. Nobody is going to look out for your money like you will. Whether it's on a marketplace with a vendor for your business or for a service, the simple act of asking for a better price can save you thousands of dollars a year. It's a muscle you have to exercise. Be respectful, be prepared to walk away, but always try to make a deal. Finally, we got to principle 6, and this one's for anyone who gets a W-2 at the end of the year. If you're a 1099 contractor or self-employed, this is still for you. It's just a bit more complicated. It's the concept of the tax refund, but not the one you're thinking of. I'm talking about tax credits and deductions you're legally entitled to. I asked Bo, "Did you know you can get money back from the government for things you already paid for?" He had no idea. I'm talking about the saver's credit for contributing to a retirement account. I'm talking about deductions for student loan interest. He had been paying for his own health insurance on the marketplace. That's a potential deduction. He was using his car for business to go meet potential clients. That's mileage, a deduction. He had never once claimed it. A tax professional helped him file an amended return for the previous 2 years. The result? A check for over $3,000. That was money he had earned that the government was legally required to give back, and he just never asked for it. It's not a handout, it's your money. You just have to know the rules of the game. So Bo did all of it. He tracked his spending, he killed the impulses, he was saving his 10%, he had his money in a high yield account, he was haggling with vendors, and he got a $3,000 tax refund. And his studio still went under. The kids grew up. Their parents didn't want them to be rappers anymore. They wanted them to go to business school. The ecosystem he had built was gone, and no amount of coupon clipping was going to bring it back. But here's the thing that people get wrong. Bo didn't fail. When the studio closed, he wasn't ruined. Because of everything we did, he had a 6-month emergency fund in the bank, he had no credit card debt, he had a few $1,000s in a Roth IR, he was okay. He took a few weeks to regroup, and then he started something new. Now he runs a weekly rap battle night at a local club. It's not a studio, but it's his. He's happy, he's profitable, and most importantly, he's in control. The point of financial literacy isn't to prevent your business from failing, or to stop you from ever losing your job. You can't control the economy or the tastes of rich kids. What you can control is your own ship. You build a hull so strong that when the storm hits, and it will hit, you don't sink. You just ride the waves until the water calms down. Bo thought being a hustler was about grinding 24/7. But the real hustle? The real hustle is building a life so stable that you can afford to start over. Thanks for watching. I'm Finn, and this is Finn About Money. See you in the next one.